Hi friends! Today we're going to be making a fixed temporary denture with a 3 workflow approach. I'm Pam, I'm your denture unicorn. Let's jump into it. So to get these cases to work nicely, what you're going to want is 3 scans. You want 1 scan of the patient's tissue with no scan bodies, 1 scan with scan bodies, and 1 scan of the opposing. Now if you do not have these all aligned when you're importing them, you will also need a bite scan. However, if they are sent to you aligned, we can go from there. So let's jump into our first work order. What we're going to do is select where all of the implants were located. So here you can see I already have selected where the implants were. Now I'm going to enter in patient's name and a reference. I'll call this implant locations. I'm going to set this to an abutment, and I'm going to make sure that I select the same scan bodies that were scanned with this case. So for this example, it was scanned with DES multi-unit scan bodies. And you want to make sure that you're using the same scan bodies that have been scanned in the mouth. I'm going to set this up as a bar. There's several reasons for that. I won't go too deep into that in this video. Once you're ready, you can hit scan. Now, even if you don't have a 3Shape scanner, you will still have access to Scan It Dental. I find that this is the easiest, cleanest, and quickest way to get the data that I need. I'm going to come down here into Load Scan, and I'm going to find that scan of the scan with the scan bodies. So here's the scan body scan right here. Beauty, and now I'm going to start aligning all of these scan bodies. So if I scroll up a little bit, I can click on one scan body and align it. Now sometimes it's not going to show you the right scan body, so this is actually a lab scan body, but what we have used is intraoral scan bodies. I'm going to jump into a quick tip here. This is something that can make your implant cases a lot faster. So let's hop into our settings and go down into our implant systems right in the middle. We're going to find the implants that we use the most. So for this example, I'm using the DES multi-unit intraoral scan bodies, but find the one that you feel that you're using on a daily basis, and we can create a little bit of a shortcut here. So we'll come into our preview. And once the preview is opened, we'll be able to see all of the different scan bodies available with this file. So I only want to use the intraoral scan body. This is what it looks like. And I'm going to set my 3-point alignments. I'm going to preset them here so that every time that I try to align something, these 3 dots will already be preset for me. I mean, it saves about 5 seconds of time, but once you're doing this on a daily basis, this is a lot of time. So let's jump back into this case. I've already aligned some of these off screen, but I'll show you what that looks like. So here we can see those 3 dots are already on there. So if I go into one that hasn't been aligned yet and I click on the 3 dot, they just show up like that, and all I need to do is hit 3 matching dots on my actual scan. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure that everything here is aligned. We'll speed it up a little bit and align all of my scan bodies. And at the next step, what I need to do is load the scan without the scan bodies of just the tissue. I've already trimmed up this case so I can make it a little bit easier for when I'm designing, so I don't have any of the extra stuff. I will align these 2 scans. Most of the time they should auto-align. Sometimes when you come into your viewing, you'll see that one of your implants is upside down. That's okay, you're just going to hop back to the first step and realign that. So I'm going to trash that alignment and try again. It's always very important to make sure you're checking that visual step and make sure that all of your implants are in the right direction. Much better. So now we have a scan with our digital implant locations. Now we can take this into our second work order. So our second work order, what we're going to do is set up for a denture. So we're going to get our patient's name in there, Luke Skybarker, and for the reference, I'm just going to set it as a denture design. And you're going to set this up however you normally set this up. I'm making sure that mine is set to base with design teeth. And on the top, I'm going to change it to digital impression just so I have the opportunity to clean up this impression a little bit. I'm going to import the scans and I'm going to pull from the previous design, from the previous work order. I want that preparation scan. So right there is that one, because that's going to have the implant locations built into it. Then I'm going to go and find my antagonist scan, and that's going to be the original antagonist. So these two files were already aligned and that data is already built into those scans, so I don't need a bite scan for this. So for the rim scan, I'm just going to put it in as the upper again. And I'm extremely fast. I'm designing this denture, so walk through the whole denture software. That's not what this video is about. Grind in your bite, make sure everything's good, blah, blah, blah. Beauty, we've designed a denture in under 5 seconds. So now we're going to go into our third work order. So from this work order, what you're going to do is you're going to select all of your implants just like you did in the first work order. You have to make sure that they are in the exact same position, otherwise this will not work. What we need for this work order is a model with implant locations and a monoblock design of our bridge. So we're going to select all the implants that we had before. And we're going to go back to abutment, but we're going to set it to a wax up abutment. This specific case is going to be using these tie bases, so you want to make sure that your tie bases matches the library that you're selecting. I don't need an antagonist, and I will leave it set to model. So what I'm going to do is pull from my previous design. So I want to pull the lower model, and I want to pull that wax bridge. So I'm going to right click, import scans, and I just copied the location of that. So I'll paste it here and open it and go into scans and find that lower model, and it'll be the preparation scan. And now I need a monoblock file. So if you open your CAD folder, these will already be aligned, but unfortunately I didn't set this order up correctly and I don't have a monoblock design. That's okay. I'm going to right click and go advanced and click export visualization output. If this is not installed on your dongle, you can call your reseller and have this installed. It's free of charge. They just need to enable it on the backside. What this does is it's going to output an STL file for everything in this case, and it will all be aligned to each other. So I just have to find where that file is. So I'm just going to go up one, and it's going to be in my manufacturing drive in a folder called visualization output. So in my manufacturing drive, visualization output, there it is. That's the location. So I'm just going to copy that location and I'm going to bring it in here. So import scan, find that lower jaw first, there she is, and then paste the location for the visualization output, and there should be a monoblock STL file that is aligned with everything else. And I'll very quickly walk us through this last wax up bridge. This will be super brief and quick. I'm not going to go into extreme detail. I've already cleaned up my model in the denture design, so I'm not going to worry about that. We're going to just jump right into our annotations. So essentially we are just selecting every little implant where it wants us to on the left side. Then we're going to come into our insertion direction. I never change the insertion direction unless it's red. Typically it'll have a decent insertion direction to start with. Once we come into this step, I usually turn off enforced wall thickness. That is a personal choice. Again, I'm not getting super into detail with this. And all I'm going to do here is just check that the cut splines are nice little circles around every implant. So I'm going to go through and just make sure that the whole implant is inside the little circle. Sometimes these splines come in really crazy and you can right click and clear them and draw a fresh circle. Good enough for me. I'm going to go next. At this next sculpt step, you do have the ability to wax this case up, but I've already used all of my wax up tools in my denture design. I find those tools a little bit easier to use, so this is already waxed up and finished how I want it. So I'm just going to click next. And at this step, it should be punching the holes through. Once your holes are punched through, your case is done. And if you've done this case correctly, you could do this start to finish with these 3 work orders in 45 to 30 minutes. Typically, I can get these cases done in about 30 minutes. They don't all look like this. You can spend a lot more time to make them look a lot fancier, but this was just a temp. And there she is. Now we have a temp fixed denture that we can run into the mill or the printer and get this into the patient's mouth. Once again, I'm Pam, I'm your denture unicorn. Thanks for watching.